Hello gang, welcome back to Board Game Bananas. Here are the bananas and the board game is Quest for El Dorado. Got a lot to unpack today, so let's get straight into my review. So, Quest for El Dorado is an absolutely brilliant deck building game. One of the things that I really like about the game is the replayability. You know, I've got the board set up as the rules recommend for first time players, but of course you can set it up however you like. And in fact, these boards are all reversible as well. So basically, every time you play, you know, you're going to end up with a different map and a different board. And basically that, I think, changes your approach to the game. It really changes, you know, which cards is it that I want to buy so that, you know, which cards are going to be useful later on in the game. And it also changes, you know, how much do I prioritise deck building versus getting forward as quickly as possible. So the replayability really is a massive strength to this game. Regular viewers will know that I really like a game that has such a simple premise, and this game definitely fits the bill on that regard. You're trying to get from one end of the board to the other, fastest wins. It's a premise that you can sort of intuitively understand, and when you're explaining the game for new players, or when new players are playing for the very first time, it's something they can very easily get behind. Okay, I'm trying to move from there to there as quickly as I possibly can. But that being said, what this game does really well is that, yes, you can understand it intuitively in the beginning, but you never ever, in my experience, reach a point where you feel like, okay, now I know the perfect tactic. And this goes very much hand in hand with the previous point about the replayability. The board looks completely different each time, you know, there's so many different combinations that you can have. And then the way you approach the game changes depending on how the board looks. So it's a very easy game to intuitively understand the first time you're playing, but because the game's so different every time, you never really reach a point where you're like, oh okay, well now I've mastered this game. One final positive thing I'd like to bring up about Quest for El Dorado: this game feels very different when you're playing it with 4 players compared to how it feels when you're playing with 2 players. There are sort of different gameplay elements that become more and more important when you add more players. Specifically, when you're playing with 4 player, it's a lot more common that you end up blocking each other, intentionally or not. And that's not really the case when you're just playing with 2. Also, when you're buying new cards in the shop, you know, each card, there's only 3 of each. So if you're playing 4 players, and you know that the board really requires the machete type of cards, then, you know, there's only 3 of each card, so you're going to want to get in there quickly. But of course, no game is completely without its flaws. With regards to this game, Quest for El Dorado, in my opinion, by far the most negative aspect of this game is that setting it up takes forever. You know, this is a very slow game to get out the box and to set it up. The board is fine, because again, you can put these boards in any order whatsoever, and you can like rotate them as much as you like as well. So setting the board up is relatively quick. The slow bit is over here, because, you know, when you've played it when you've played it previously, these cards will have been distributed to the different players, and then they'll be shuffled in with a pack, and then, you know, all of these are going to be in everybody's massive pile of cards towards the end of the game. And it just takes so long to separate them all and to set them up in the correct position. So you've got these 6 down here, and then you've got the rest, you know, where they should be. It just takes a very long time to set up. In fact, there have been times where I've been looking at my shelf full of board games, and I've been thinking, okay, what game do we want to play tonight? And I thought, oh, Quest for El Dorado, that's a great game. But I thought, but I really don't want to set it up because that just takes so long. So yeah, that is a clear negative in my opinion. Finally, the other con I find about this game is that, as you can see on my desk here, it takes up quite a lot of table space. You know, again, the board is relatively long and snake-like, and then these cards have to take a certain amount of space as well because there's just so many of them. And of course, you want to be sitting in a place with all the players so that you can see clearly what's going on the map, and so that you can see all of the cards and make informed decisions there. And then of course some of these cards have got some text on them which is written kind of small, so you'd have to sort of lean in and read them for a second and see what it says. And that can be kind of difficult when the game's so spread out and the board is relatively big. So that I think is a slight negative, that you really need to have a big table to play this game. I know it sounds silly, but to me that matters. So in conclusion, this is an absolutely fantastic game. It's a brilliant introduction to deck building games if you haven't played that kind of game before. This is so intuitive, you know, you're getting from one end of the board to the other, fastest wins, and the main advantage is its replayability. You can play this game so many times, you don't get bored of it, the map's always different, there are different elements that become important. You also have different strategies and different ways of approaching the game in order to win. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, which is, you know, the sign of a great game. I would give this game a score of 5 out of 5 bananas. It's the first time I've done that on this channel, so quite a momentous occasion. But I do feel this game really, really does warrant it. So yeah, don't be put off by how long it takes to set everything up, as I've been. It really, really is worth it, and it's a fantastic game for you to play. If you'd like to know more about how to play and a more in-depth discussion about the rules, I do have a video for that on my channel. But yeah, let me know what you think about the game in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.